look at how to defend against the uppercuts now. Again, we're infighting at this point, so we don't have as many tools available to us on our defense arsenal right now. When he throws an uppercut, one of the best things you can do against this is just use your forearms to block. So if he's throwing his lead uppercut, because most of the time when you're throwing an uppercut, your target area is going to be the solar plexus whenever it travels all the way up to the jawline and catches the chin, just because someone's kind of angled their body out. This will work whether they go over the solar plexus or the jaw. Just bringing your forearm in and across so it catches through here, and I've got my glove still directly on my jaw to protect the entire uppercut line. So he throws it. Bam! There's a shot. Shot. At the same time, you will notice I'm bending my knees. I know he's bending his knees to get some power in the punch, but that means he's wanting to get underneath me, just like in wrestling. The guy with the lower level on the hips is usually going to be the winner. Same thing in the power of this shot. So whenever he's dipping his legs, I'm going to dip at the same time so he doesn't have a lot of extension to come up on me. So the forearm block, I dip with him. Turn a little bit. Again. Same thing would apply whenever he's throwing the rear uppercut. Forearm block, I dip, and put the forearm in front of it. Notice it's really more a matter of me turning and angling my body than it is me trying to move my elbows around. Keep my body in position, keeping the parallel forearms. Again, the reason it is called the box, just turn with the body. Again, rear. Again. Turn back over here. Do lead to rear. Lead to rear. Lead to rear. So forearm block on both sides. Now we'll trade some. I'll throw first, lead to rear. The idea on that one, pretty easy. We can also use cross glove blocks against these uppercuts. When he throws his lead uppercut, he's throwing it with his right hand. My right hand's going to come out and smack this glove. I'm dipping at the knees and it's smacking directly down on top of that glove. Okay, he throws. There's the block, 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 block. Again, I'm giving it some impact. Let's turn. We can do this as well against the rear uppercut. Cross glove block. He's throwing the lead in his left. So I'm smacking with my left. Again, it's like a cuff, except coming down at this vertical angle. Where against the jabs and the crosses, I'm circling back to the chest. Here, I'm hitting, but I'm circling right back up to the jaw. Rear again. Here, 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 here. Let's turn. Lead to rear. Glove, glove. Again, glove, glove. Again, glove, glove. Again, glove, glove. Let's trade. I'll open. Get the picture on that one. We can also do pulls against the uppercut. When he throws the uppercut, remember we talked about on the body, on the jabs and cross, taking the body out. A little bit of a pull will also defend against this uppercut. When he throws the lead one, I angle my body straight out. Since we know this is his target area, but am I leaning this out and this is going to loop straight up this area? If I stay in line for it, it's looking to dig from here to here. All I have to do is take my angle out of line. So when he throws that, boom, uppercut, uppercut, uppercut. If I want particular safety on it, go ahead, keep throwing. I can put another cross glove in there. Like I said, all these can be mixed and matched throughout any portion of your training. Let's turn it. Rear uppercut, I can pull against that. Pull, pull, pull. I can combine it with, go ahead, pull and glove. Let's turn it. Lead to rear, trading, just doing pulls on each of them. We'll put a little bit beat of time in between each one to give time for the pulls to have a snapback. So I throw these pulls and a pull, pull, pull. Pretty simple. Also pretty simple, if we use the step back everywhere else, we might as well use it here as well. Whenever he gives me his lead uppercut, again, pushing off the lead foot, stepping with the rear foot, and dragging my lead foot back. So he throws that uppercut. There's my step back again. Again, same thing, turn. He throws that rear uppercut. Again, 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 again. Turn it. Lead to rear, steps in. there. It's tough to get that one in drill because no one usually is going to do an advancing rear uppercut. So usually it's just good enough to step back on either one. So what we're going to do is we're going to trade. I'll throw one punch, either a lead or a rear uppercut. He'll step back, then he'll pick either a lead or a rear, and he'll step back. Throwing. Pretty simple there. Now we talked about the uppercuts, we've talked about picking off the hooks, we've talked about taking off the jab and the cross. Now we talked about the jab, cross, and hooks, we defend it all against the high angle. People will also hit the body. Pretty simple defenses against these lower shots. If he's throwing a low jab, I put my lead elbow in front of it. Again, put the elbow in front of it. That's it. Just an elbow block, very similar to what you did with the uppercut. Turn. Again. Right there. Again. Okay, turn. If he throws the cross, I can put either elbow in front of it. I can put the lead, I can put the rear. Doesn't matter. Notice I'm not taking my elbows out from my body, which will open up a rib line if he's throwing a combination low. So when he throws the cross again, keeping them tight. Keeping them tight. Keeping them tight. Jab, cross, low. Right here. Again. Again. And again, we can trade these. I'll go low, jab, cross, and you return. Also, what we can do against these low jab crosses is we can scoop these. When he throws his jab, he's throwing with his right arm, my left arm. It's going to come down and smack to the outside. It's a smack, scoop, whatever you want to call it. We call it a scoop. When he throws the jab low, come on top of it. It's like a cross. It's like a glove parry. Just take him to the outside. There's a scoop, 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 scoop. Let's turn it. Same thing against a cross. Now he's throwing his left, my right will do the scoop. Scoop, 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 turn it back. He throws the jab cross, two scoops, we've got a scoop, scoop, again, scoop, scoop, again, scoop, scoop. Now we're going to trade that back and forth. I throw, scoop, scoop, two, there. Okay, we use the step back on all arenas of blocking these shots out. Do the same thing against the low jab, cross, pretty self-explanatory, but one time, for posterity's sake, throws a low jab or a cross, push off with the lead foot, step in the rear, drag back. Again, low shot, step and drag. Again, step and drag. Again, step and drag. Gets the low body hooks. Again, I could trade that drill back and forth. I think we're getting the idea at this point. When he throws the low body hook, putting the elbow in front of it again. Bam. I turn my body towards it. Again, I'm not taking this away from it. I see this is pretty common. People see that coming in and go, oh, I'm blocking here. But then that punch will loop around and catch me in the short ribs. I'm going to be feeling that for some time. So I keep my elbow on my body and advance my hip towards it. And I dip at the knees to give me a little bit of a shock absorber effect at this point. Bam. Bam. Bam, bam. Pretty self-explanatory there. We'll trade a couple of those. I'll throw first, low lead hook. Notice again the bending of the knees the entire time. Also the step back, which is universal. We'll put the step back here. He throws the low lead body hook. Step back. I'll throw it. He steps back. Again, again, again. So you think about it. We've taken all 5 punches. And we've also subdivided according to levels, and we put in some defenses there as well. And we showed you, my recommendation would take each defense and give them each some independent rounds on their own. Then start mixing and matching. Like I said, again, I could sit here and tell you a myriad of ways to put these together, but it's going to get to be pretty self-explanatory. You start playing with them, let your creativity go to work. It could be nothing more than him throwing a high jab and a cross. You know, I got a cuff, I've got a cover. He can throw a high jab and a cross, and I've got a catch and a parry. There's a high jab and a cross, and I got a catch and a shoulder block. You start putting all these different permutations together, that's where you start getting your boxing system going. We'll explain a little bit more about that when we get to a couple of flow drills to give you some examples of that. We're going to defend the remaining portions of the arsenal. We got to defend against the pivot punch, again, which was the forearm strikes. We got to defend against the elbows. We got to defend against the headbutts. We also have to defend against the shoot. Now, we've talked briefly, we're discussing a stance where we're standing at 12 and 8 o'clock. We're talking about even though it's extreme boxing, boxing still at the early pre-rule period had some throws in it, so they were well aware that the shoots could come in. So we got to go ahead and keep prepared for that, particularly in this day and age of mixed martial arts. What we're going to use is boxing is already, our stance is very similar to a staggered stance as you would find in freestyle wrestling. Staggered stance would be nothing more than taking our 12 and 8 and extending it out even more. Kind of looks to some degree like a traditional forward stance. I hate to make that comparison, but it kind of looks that way. But in wrestling, they're using it first for their staggered stance position. So what will happen when a shoot is occurring? Hold this a moment, Corey. I'm going to set this up. I'm going to step out with my rear foot. I'll just leave my lead one in place because I got to have base with this one. We're assuming if he's shooting, he's going for his double leg or his single leg, his high single, low single, whatever. I'm pushing off with the lead foot, stepping back with the rear foot. Now the handwork on this is my lead hand, my lead elbow drops to my knee, palm up. My rear hand, palm down, goes to the knee. Okay, now this is a real open, exposed looking position, but we're going to show you how this works in action here in just a moment. But again, we take a look, drop back, there's position. Lead elbow to the knee, lead palm facing up, rear hand to the rear knee. Again, there's the motion, straight on, motion. Notice whenever I'm doing this, I'm just traveling further back on my 8 o'clock angle. I'm not taking this straight back. It will kind of get me a little bit more narrow-based, a little bit more precarious, harder to stop this shoot. So back, and back, and back. Now, this hand position, which makes it look like I'm leaving my head exposed, but if he's going down for his shoot, I know he's dropped his hips low, he's got to be coming in at this angle. This is protecting my legs. If he's shooting against the legs and he gets any kind of a back hook up around the backs of my knees, or he's got his shoulder driving in through my hip, chances are I'm going to lose base. And we know we can't use a sprawl against this, but this is where you try to drop into this staggered underhook position, assuming that we saw this shoot coming in from a distance, and we can set this up. If we can't, then we'll hit into the sprawl, which we'll do next. This position will allow me when he shoots in, I have both my arms protecting my legs out. I can get double underhooks underneath his armpits, ready to turn him, pancake him, set him up for whizzers, whatever I need to do. So in real slow motion, Corey will shoot in on me. I'm in my boxing position. Whenever he comes in, I drop into this position here. So we see, if I spin this elbow to the knee prevents him from getting a clear hookup. His head can't come to my side, and he also cannot get a clear hookup on my leg. This will block everything up on my lead leg. If we come to this side, if he happens to shoot in and then spin off to the side, this arm is already protecting this leg. So I'm in underhook position no matter which leg he shoots for. So again, he shoots in, I drop into the staggered position right in here. So I'm already set up. Now I'm not just going to leave these here. This is not going to be one static bracing position. So whenever he shoots, he comes in, I'm already blocked up, ready to start turning him down. Continue to stay on our feet if we want to and throw the shots, or take this down to a ground game, which we're not doing right now. So again, whenever we're throwing the punches, we know we can't shoot back and forth. He's got to be able to reach me with the punch, and a good way to drill this sort of thing is not alone just doing this to shoot back and forth. We'll trade a couple of shoots. I'll come in on you. You go to staggered. Here. Now you can start throwing some punches in the air. You can put the gloves on if you want to. We've taken them off at this point to make sure we can see our hand positions here. I'll do the shoot here, just making sure that you're able to mix and match these to some degree. Again, just dropping down into this staggered position. Now this assumes I see this shoot coming in time for me to hit this. If I was a little bit late dropping this position, I would go directly into the sprawl, which is nothing more than whenever he shoots in, my hands are in a high position. I'm going to hit him with my near hip. This is nothing more than taking my hip in, dropping my feet out and away, and pushing my hips through the entire way. If I would ride him all the way to the floor, when I get to the floor, I'm going to be digging in with the toes of my feet and pushing my hips through the mat and arching my back. And it's just not me laying my entire flat portion of my pelvis against him. I'll pick out one side of the pelvis to really cut through against him. So if he drives in, it's hard to do this one very slowly. He shoots you on this side. Whenever he shoots in, I miss my staggered setup position. So this is my near hip. I'm going to sprawl my legs back and hit him with this hip right in here to help give me the ride and arch my back through the entire way. If we had him coming in with any kind of momentum, he shoots, my sprawl is going to bring him all the way down. Again, notice on the sprawl, this is getting dangerously close into wrestling territory, but it still matters in this boxing the way we do it, because we do shoot in behind the punches all the time. If I use my flat of my hips against him on his shoot, go ahead. He's got better base at this point. I still am on top, but he's still, notice he's got his hands hooked behind my knees. If he's able to get his, bang your knee to the mat and suck me up here. Okay, he's still got me off the mat. So I'm using the flat of my hip. Let's get to that same position. I use the hip cut. I got my near hip into him. Get your near knee under you. I can create more weight by cutting one hip through him. So, for a drill, you got either the staggered underhook position or dropping all the way into the sprawl, but paying close attention to using this hip cut. So if we go back and forth, we can choose to either use this hook or the sprawl. We'll do a little drill going back and forth here. Pick either one. I'll shoot first. Good enough. So blocking the shootout, it's really a lot more technical than that. There's many more things you can do. Those are going to be your bread and butter, though. Even if you got a good freestyle wrestler, the staggered, the underhook, going the sprawl position, be two of your more important tools. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how to block out these elbows we talked about. As the elbows are coming in, I can jam this thing up. We know there's a shorter arc on this than a punch, and we're assuming that he's just not throwing an elbow blindly. You're not going to see an elbow thrown from this range, the outside. Everything's going to be done from in here. Lots of times, by staying active on your offense, throwing lots of punches, going to prevent this person to have an opportunity to let their elbows wing in. But if they do, here's a few options for you. One is nothing more than jamming. When he throws an elbow, I'm going to hit him in the shoulder, or in the head, or in the throat. It's hard to do these things nicely, but here's my shoulder jam, there's my throat jam, and I can also jam on the head. Just hit him in the head. You see me using this hand as a check. It's tough for me to leave that out after natural hap. I'm going to drop this out of the mix for a moment. Throw your elbows, jam, jam, jam. Just hit head, throat, shoulder at any point. Now if we're just playing this inside mix, he and I just going very lightly here. Occasionally whenever he's throwing in the elbow shots, I just keep checking against his shoulders the entire way. Now we can also combine something that's not necessarily was in the previous version of the boxing system. We have something we're copying away from Filipino systems, which works really well from here. It's just taking variations of the catch like we use against in the jab. When he throws his elbow, I can use a hand just to put in front of it, allow it to receive into either hand. Now I know optimally, if we want to keep a flow drill going, I'd have my same side hand do the catch. But we find when we're this close and things are being thrown really, really quickly, it doesn't matter which one is getting the catch in here. So if we're throwing, again, the technique on this, let me turn you, when he throws, if it's the near side hand, just open it up, receive it just like a jab catch. Far side hand, again here, please. So I can cross it, so I can near side or cross, either one. Let's go back and forth, have you just throw elbows back and forth, here, throw, here. So I'm doing a cross hand on each, cross hand on each. I'm exploded away from him in the distance. We know we're not going to fight from this position. Just getting used to doing the catching. And then I can start sneaking myself in as I get used to fearing this a lot less. Also when I'm doing my catching, as I get closer, notice I start angling my forearms in. I'm not staying straight up and down, because this starts hurting like hell when you get nicked in the forearm all the time. I'm letting him catch. There's a little bit of a ramping down motion here. So he's throwing here, 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 here. Then you can start mixing in with some punches. Have him throw some punches that I'm picking off. So it's here. So I'm picking up the punches, some catches, cuffs, parries, things we covered in the previous defensive chapters, and then putting in the catch. My hands happen to be in a low reference position whenever he throws his elbow. For example, if I've just thrown perhaps low level right in here, and then we got the elbow coming in, and I'm not particularly in a great position to put my catches in. It'd be nothing more than just called a lift, which is pretty much the same thing as doing an upward catch. I can either use a palm up motion or I can just have this forearm come up with it as if I'm cupping back to a cover against a hook or a cross. So from this I've got two ways to lift, you throw. I've got this motion, again, here, 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 or I've got this forearm bringing my hand back to my ear motion right in here. So we can take that off of both sides. Whenever he throws, I can work here, 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 or I can work here, 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 here. Now this drill has a tendency to has an artificial look to it because we're slightly in the outside exploded range, and it's really hard to train elbows with any sort of accuracy for how they're actually going to land in the match unless you kind of get in close and start going to this low level right in here and have your partner occasionally say, okay, we're putting some elbows in here, we're going to try and check them out and put some lifts in this area. So instead of staying with an artificial construct of an elbow drill, which is some great reference positions there, I'd rather like to see them kind of sneak out of this mix. So again, if I'm just throwing some punches here, and he'll just play the dead body and occasionally raise the elbows up. So right now, I don't have to think about too much other than the fact that I'm going to be defending that elbow whenever that comes in. So I've either got to catch it or lift it up and out of the way. It's not a pretty looking drill, any stretch of the imagination, but it gets a little bit closer to the practicalities of how these things come in. Again, I think if you're working with an overwhelming offense and you're staying covered the entire way when you're throwing, it's going to be hard for these elbows to actually find their mark. Lots of times the elbows are really nice when someone just really exploded or opened up, holding some kind of open reference position. So, but if they're pretty tight, elbows are going to be tough and just sneak through these areas anyway. Now, if we're going to defend against the headbutt, we're going to take that same shoulder, throat, head jam that we're using against the elbow positions here. So when he throws the headbutt, I got to do nothing more than block right in here. Anything close or directly on the head. So if we're in close for headbutts, we see it's coming in. Anything opportunistic, just this shoving with the forearm, the hand, me dropping low, hitting my own headbutt against the shoulder to stop this thing from coming into me, it's going to stop it up. As far as drilling that goes, drop it down low, because you really can't work your headbutts into your sparring with any sort of realism, because again, you're going to hurt each other. So really, elbows and headbutts are in, but you can train the punches with a lot more realism, and so you're going to always have to take this at a lower level when things are worked up, jam against these things, and keep in mind the punches where it's all going to be at. At the same time, I'd recommend safety equipment, always wearing your boxing glove, you got your elbow pads on the entire way, defending the shoots the entire way. Now, blocking against the pivot shots, basically you have to do nothing more than the cover. Remember, we had the cover when he threw the lead hook, was nothing more than doing this motion here. So whenever he's throwing these back pivot shots, the cover will take care of it again. So let's say he throws, misses a hook, and he's coming back on this side, miss with the hook, come back. So my cover is nothing more than raising up, covering the ear, bringing my elbow to the inside, and again, lowering my knees so I can get some shock absorber effect out of my legs. So he throws, misses, and there's the pivot shot. Again, pull, miss, throws, I pull, miss, throw, pull. Same thing off the opposite side. If for some reason he's throwing this wild haymaker rear hook, misses, there's his pivot shot, cover, bend the knees, cover, bend the knees. Again, these things are, pivot shots are tough to put into your sparring. The reason they were dropped out of boxing in the first place is they build up so much force. So if they do actually catch you in the soft tissue, it's a dropper and probably well on the way to some cervical vertebra damage, which makes them very interesting to us. That's why we put them back in the system. So for your overall mix, we took these up from your punches to your elbows, your headbutts, what have you, as far as your defense goes. We've showed you how to do these things offensively in the arsenal. We've shown you all the defensive tools against these. Now, I can sit here and go on forever about putting these things together and their different combinations for the drills, but to save you time, you just go through, drill them independently, start mixing them together, then put the gloves on, and you start turning your own little sparring session into a laboratory, finding out what works for you, and see what comes out, because it's going to be a little bit different every single time because of the alive energy that you bring to it. We're going to talk about combinations now. We've got the arsenal put together, you got your defense put together. some of the your training needs to continually progress. You've got to work through your combinations. Best way to work the combinations are your focus pads. This allows you to get your timing. You can work some power on this. Heavy bags are great, but they don't move. The focus pads kind of give you a little bit more aliveness with what you're doing. At the same time as running through some combinations, we're not going to give you every combination that ever existed because that's just limited by your creativity. There could be hundreds and thousands of these things. We're going to try and give you maybe a top 10, a top 12 combinations, and from there take all the previous arsenal and start creating your own. Just try and make sure that they make some sort of sense in how you put them together. Usually if you're throwing something off the right side of the body, make sure something off the rear side of the body flows back and forth so you're able to constantly shift your weight back and forth with your hips. Same time we're doing the combinations, you kind of get some ideas of how you, when you're the person's holding the focus pad, your feeder, is setting these combinations up for you. They can start finding holes in your defense, start smacking you back sometimes to help you keep tight the entire time. So if I see him drift away from good elbow position or good chin position, I'll be able to slap back with the gloves at the same time to keep some aliveness while the combination is going on. So you always want to punch or throw any kind of striking combination whenever you can because you get a better shot of hitting anything. It's like using a scatter gun whenever you're shooting. It's a lot better shot of catching something, and it's harder for him to react. Sure, he might have all of his defense down. If I'm only throwing jabs all the time, he's going to be able to predict that. But as soon as we start adding multiples on this, harder to see anything coming in. Whenever, as a feeder, a little bit of a key on this, I see a lot of people just hitting focus pads all the time, but it's usually best to slap back at the same time using the pads. You start fraying out your elbows here a little bit, so whenever he's throwing a jab, it's just not me holding this stationary, which will start flapping me back here. When he throws a jab, you actually see me slapping into this glove as well. Allows him to start feeling some more impact, throw the cross, but it saves my arms at the same time. If he throws any kind of hook, I'm slapping these at the same time. Let's have a cross again. Also keeps me aware of the time whenever we're doing all of our catching and our parrying, how active we are with our own defense. So I get to watch him. I'm watching for him to drop his shoulders. I'm watching for him to raise his jaw up. I'm watching for him to wing his arms out, giving any kind of swimming with this. Like I said, we're going to take some basic combinations, show you how these work, show you how you can walk around so you can, when you get together with your partner, your training partners, how to feed back and forth for one another. First combination we're going to take is just a double jab. Since we know the jab is the bread and butter, we're going to make sure that we can work through this in combination. When you are throwing a combination, you want to make sure that you're always retracting directly back to where you started from. I don't want two ships passing in the night. I want to see this kind of thing going on. Okay, you got to make sure one comes back, I feel it on the jaw before the other one comes out. So we're already right back into a recovery position. So when you throw a jab, it's not going to be a little vibration of a jab, halfway back, second jab. It's going to be two distinct punches, okay? Jab, double. There you go, good. Yeah. Yeah. Cover. Staying nice and covered the entire time. Okay, I just flap in there, make sure that he's getting used to being pelted sometimes when you throw these punches out. Off the double jab, let's take a look at the 1-2 combination, which is a jab cross. Just throws, watch he's got the weight shift. He turns into the punch each time. We've already talked about these dynamics when we broke them up. Again, combinations, just trying to give you some ideas how to put these things together. Jab cross. Go with the cross, hook, cross. Pretty good infighting combination. Give me the straight, cross, lead hook, back to the cross. Good. Keep losing my focus pad. Good. Good. Put a pivot on it after it's through. Pivot. Good. Pivot. 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 Good. Let's take jab, cross, lead uppercut. Okay, jab, cross, lead uppercut, rear uppercut. the entire time. He's in short rhythm. Okay, let's have jab, lead, hook. This is the first combination we've shown. It's off the same hand. So jab, right into the lead hook. Bam, bam, good, nice, nice. Bam, bam, good. Good. Bam, bam, good, good, good. Bam, bam, good. Okay, let's do jab, rear elbow. So he's going to throw the jab, bam, step in, bam, get the rear elbow set up in there. So, bam, bam, good. Jab, cross, lead elbow, again slow, so great. Jab, cross, lead elbow. Step in with that lead elbow. So jab, cross, step in. Again, jab, cross. There it is. Reset the pad. And go. Okay, let's have jab, lead, hook. I'm going to make a miss on the hook. It's going to have to come back with a pivot, outside pivot. So it's going to be jab, throw the hook, pull it out, back in with the pivot. Slow again. Jab, feed, make a miss. Sometimes when you're doing your focus pads, you're going to program some misses in here because lots of times you miss more often than you hit. So your fighter needs to get used to what it feels like to try and control their base when they're being pulled off. So again, jab, lead, hook, pivot. Hit, miss, out, pivot. Again. Again. Good. Again. Good. Reset the glove. Again. Good. Now you're going to defend against the shoot. You're going to give me jab, cross, and shoot. Give me an underhook from the stagger, okay? Jab, cross, on the shoot. Good. Again. Notice both underhooks are in. Again. Again. Good. Jab, cross, sprawl. Jab, cross, sprawl. Excellent. Again, jab, cross, sprawl. Great. Hey, now let's take a look at throwing. Jab, cross, lead hook, headbutt. Gonna be bam, bam, here. Step in with the free headbutt. Again, 1, 2, 3. Set up, notice I just feed the glove across my shoulder. Again. Again. Good, good. Again. Again. Feet. Again. There you go. Go ahead and breathe. Take a breath for a moment. Okay, great round for the combinations there. Actually, you would take each combination, you can break them up into their own individual rounds. We're just trying to give you some examples of how to feed, make some up as you go along, trying to implement all the arsenal that you've got, feeding back, slapping on your man as you go. Then from there, to start using your imagination, you get all the entire arsenal, all your entire defense package, put it together. Okay, now we're into the fun part of the system. You've got your arsenal down, you've got your stance, your movement, your footwork, you've got your defenses down, and we looked at some combinations which are very, very, very important. Now we start looking at flow drills, counter-punching drills, all You can work this counter punching, defending against shoots, elbows, what have you. What we're going to do is we're going to take one counter punching drill and build it for you piece by piece and top this drill out. And then from there, you can pretty much imagine we've got, 50, 60 pages of these drills, but if we pay close attention how we build this drill, you can start building on your own, taking all the previous tools from the arsenal and the defensive arsenal, and you can say, oh, that makes sense, I can build this on myself. Just use a little bit of creativity and make sure you're just adhering to all the proper defensive principles all the way through. Make sure you're throwing with good form. Do lots and lots of mirror work, and then gradually progress to this. Everyone wants to jump to these kind of drills because they look like the most fun, because they are, but you got to have the mechanics down before you do all this. So we're going to start out with a low common denominator. I'm going to have him just throw a jab. I'm going to catch that jab. We've already seen that before. So he throws his jab. There's the catch. Move. This is the first link on my flow chain. So he's working his offense by throwing his jab. I get to work my defense out against that same jab. Let's put another link on it now. I just stopped up his jab. He decides he wants to throw a lead hook off this same punch. So we've had the jab, which I've caught, and he gets to work in combination now. He throws a lead hook. When he throws that lead hook, we already know I've got 8 choices to do against a hook. What I'm going to do is cover, bring the elbow to the inside, bend the knees, and go in. So we've got the jab, lead hook. Okay, again. Put another link on the chain now. Starting to see how this stuff works. I'm going to start reacting offensively to him. I'm going to add in a cross. So my left hand, my rear hand shot is going to come at him, and he's going to slip this thing to the outside. So really slowly from the beginning, we get the jab, caught it, he throws his lead hook, and I give him my cover against it. The hand that just gave the cover, I'm going to throw the cross right at his face. He's going to just turn to my outside and slip that punch to the outside. We'll stop it there. Again, slowly. 1, 2, slip. Again. Right there, let's move that one around. Notice we're respecting each other, keep coming back to proper positioning each time, keep going. Put another piece on this chain. After he slips this hook, he's going to give me his own lead hook, but he's going to throw it to the body. I'm going to have to give an elbow cover against it. So when he throws the low lead hook, I'm covered here. But you got to remember, I'm retracting from here. So I've got to react in time to bring this back in. So I'm up here, retract to here. From the beginning, we got catch, cover. He slips, cover. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 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 Starts to have a little bit of a real feel at that point. It's a blast to do this. Now I'm going to start responding again. I cover against that low hook. I'm going to give him my own hook. I'm going to return with the high hook, which he will be covered for. But you notice he's already in good position for it because he's fighting with good form. His gloves up the entire way. Let's turn it this way. Gives me that low lead hook. I'm covered. I return a high lead hook. He's covered. Low, high, low, high. Beginning, let's count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, so I'm going catch, cover, slip, cover, cover. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he starts feeling like a real fight at that point. If people walk in, they don't know it's a drill, you look pretty impressive, as long as you don't lose your concentration and screw up. Put another piece on this now. I've given him this lead hook, and he's covered. He's going to return with the lead uppercut. Okay? I don't have time to turn my entire body to put this elbow in front of it. That's what I'm talking about, taking educated choices when I'm putting these drills together. I'm going to pull this one down for a glove block. So I'm here, he throws, and put that glove on top of it. So he's just, one more time, just block here, and put the glove on top of it. So he's covered, glove block. Cover, go, block, glove, glove. From the beginning, slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again. Okay, let's put another piece on it. We'll make this the last piece. You'll have 7 steps. Hopefully see how you're building these things up. These things can go on to infinity. Rather than just keep burning up your time, take these things, take this one drill in particular, work it till you feel like you're perfect, then start changing the elements around. Go back again to that this vocabulary of arsenals and work them together. Last thing we'll put in here, he gave me the uppercut. I gave him the glove block. I'm going to return with my own high lead hook, which he's going to duck underneath it and shoot for a double leg. First, let's have you do the duck. So I blocked here. Bam, there's his duck. Remember, he travels down in the V, down the V, up the V. Again, uppercut, down and up. Again, 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 again. From the beginning, slowly. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Again. Okay, one last piece on it. Whenever he shoots this double leg, I'm going to give that sprawl. Remember, my near hip has got to cut into him as I take my legs back. So there's my sprawl position. So he's going to duck this lead hook and shoot, and I sprawl. To here. Again. Again. To here. Taking the beginning. So we're going to catch, cover, slip, cover, cover, glove, duck, sprawl. Catch, cover, slip, cover, cover, glove, duck, sprawl. Again. From that, you get the idea. That was 7 steps in that one particular flow chain. You can build these things all over the place and make them as long as you want, as short as you want. Constantly change the elements around, and you've got countless hours of fun and drilling fun. In one sense, this can prep you for sparring like nothing else. Let's talk about sparring. Give you a few notes of tips, things to look for whenever you're actually out there trying to get some ring time or some mat time. As far as sparring drills, you should always spar with a plan in mind. You shouldn't just be getting your partner, your opponent in front of you just thinking, oh, I need to beat the shit out of this guy. You should always have a goal when you step in the ring. You might be thinking, this time I'm working primarily defense. I'm working primarily counterpunching. I'm working primarily short rhythm, long rhythm. I'm primarily working my body shot game. Or I'm going head hunting on this particular game. I'm going to work my footwork on this particular game. Even if it turns out your partner has a different game plan altogether, which is lots of times good, you're trying to adhere to whatever your plan is at the time. Because again, sparring is not a fight. Sparring and fighting are totally different. Now, if you actually go grab yourself a professional amateur bout or you get on the street, sure, your game plan is to destroy that person in front of you. But whenever you're doing the sparring session, there is a goal in mind each and every time. Also, I'd recommend you try and apply a level of speed or control whenever you're fighting. You can say we're going to quarter power, quarter speed, or half speed, or 3/4. You can go all out. It's best to try and keep the speed at maximum all the time, but we're saying quarter, half, 3/4 full. That's where you're actually talking about taking your power in and out the entire time. Because if you're really worried about taking a full contact shot where you're trying to work on a particular aspect of the game, which is a little bit tricky, and you're getting banged, you're not going to learn this at the optimum. So always play with a plan in mind, and keep your goal there the entire time. Make sure you got a good coach or you've got enough self-discipline to realize whenever you're falling outside of your particular plan to stop, and don't have enough, have your ego be safe enough to say, hey, I need to back this off a little bit so I can get down here and emphasize the things I want to look at. Like I said, we're going to work on counter-punching, defense, work a long-range fight, work the infighting, work on moving inside and outside, work the inside fight, move the outside fight. Say you're just going to work on the shooting or have your partner work on boxing and training and shooting on you, and you stop. You just got to mix up all the arsenal we had before and just keep mixing up your game plans the entire way just to make sure that you can keep your game sharp at the top of its game, and also just mix all the elements together. We can also continue to have more fun with the focus pads. Let me pull Corey back in here. We've, again, focus pads, one of the best ways if you're not actually going to be doing the flow drills, which are fantastic, or the actual sparring time. Focus pads are still a way to keep you in top physical prime ready for the fight. We already saw us apply these with combinations. Earlier we showed you how to put some of these things together. A few other drills you can work with the focus pads is one we call butterfly and the bee, which is pretty much your focus pad player will be moving around, dancing around the entire area, and whenever they stop and flash a pad, your job is to hit it whenever you can. So in other words, your person holding the pads is the butterfly, and you got to sting this thing whenever they slow down on you. A little bit of a quick demonstration of what we're working here. Lead rear uppercut. So you get the picture there, just move around, lots of movement, trying to really find this moving target. Another really useful way to condition your punching, because whenever you are fighting, you need to, once you unload, you've got to keep unloading the entire way. It's comparable to people wanting to do straight blast from Wing Chun or JKD, but applying to the extreme boxing analogy, we can just take something as simple as jab cross combination. He's not throwing at full speed at all, but we've got constant motion. You put this kind of drill on a 3-minute timer and make your man work harder and faster, occasionally throwing in hook angles. Step out, let's turn the side, show how we fed in that hook angle. I'm just slapping into the gloves, occasionally pulling out wide to feed the hook, or pulling out long to feed an uppercut. Me pulling out wide gives him the cue about which punch I am looking for. Here, more than anything else, we're looking for him to keep his hands up, looking for him to keep constant motion, and build up the endurance. A lot of people fight really well when they only have to throw 16, 17 punches around. It's totally different when you got to throw with continuous movement the entire time. When we're fighting, we're not looking for the knockout right off. We're just trying to hit correctly. The knockout will come because people will open up the jawline or just open up the targets because you're filling in every space they've got. Double up on some of these punches. I'm going to give you right, left, right, right, left, right, left. It's just a short example of the rhythm punching and showing again it's only limited by your creativity, how you would put these combinations together. The job is to keep your man working the entire time. Get another drill to show you. We'll have to move over the wall to show you this. It's called shoe shine off the wall. I think you'll like this one a lot. Look at another focus pad drill. This was a lot of fun. We call this one just shoe shine off the wall. Just get yourself a solid surface, wall, door, octagon fence. What you can do is your trainer is going to give you pressure against this surface. Probably we're going to go ahead and tell you the best way we give pressure on the surface is we put lead shoulder in the center of the chest, and the other hand will drop low against the outside of the knee, inside of the knee, because we're pretty much aware that knees can be thrown at this point. So it's pretty much a good way to mount him against the wall. Occasionally I'll throw a shot or two just to make sure he's staying covered. Whenever I take pressure off of him, I'll flash the pads, and he'll be giving me straight shots, or if I flash them horizontally, he's giving me hook shots, or I flash them vertically, we're getting uppercut shots. We'll go ahead and run through maybe a little bit of rotation of this so you can take a look and see how this drill is going to kind of work out. You ready?
Yeah.
this. Every time he feels me back off of him, when the pressure leaves, he's ready to fill in that gap that I'm leaving behind. Straight. Hook. Upcut. And out. That's it. So we do the shoe shine off the wall. Okay, we looked at the extreme boxing from primarily putting the gloves on, moving things around, taking a look at it from the sport aspect. I'm going to take a look at some street applications. We're not going to labor that point too far. I think if once we get a few concepts into how we're doing this in the street, it'll make total sense. Again, you're going to go back. I'm going to trust you on creativity to put some of these ideas together. What we're doing with the boxing, while we're primarily training with the focus pad equipment, with the boxing glove equipment, and training with some of the boxing rules, is because boxing is a realistic feedback martial art, as is wrestling. We actually have some contact going on the entire time. Sure, there's lots of mirror work involved with boxing, lots of shadow wrestling involved with wrestling, but still, yet the entire time you can get together with an opponent and actually do some drills, feel what it's like to get hit, exchange some hits, get used to seeing some body dynamics and how people are going to move. Now, we're going to say, how do we take and apply this to the street? One is I would recommend opening up your hands and striking with the heel of the hand. You can hit with the fist if you want to, but hopefully you're not going to be catching the point of an elbow or hitting too hard on the top of the skull and busting your hands up. Mine would go in a heartbeat. We're going to pull Corey in here for just a moment. You've already got a lot of the tools, the attributes that the boxing brought to you, which is some of the speed, the body dynamics, the footwork, having a good strong base. So whenever we're out in the street, we're so close already to a natural stance, how we're going to be moving. It's just a little bit of drop in the base will immediately set me off into a fighting stance. If we already worked all of our drills, we can throw jabs and the crosses and everything, the top speed with maximum efficiency and power. Whenever it comes time to alter some of these weapons, for example, just turning some of these into a finger jab, just nothing more than a flick. Because again, we know no matter how big and strong someone is, how much steroids they've got, their eyelids are not conditioned, so even if they close these things up, we're going to be able to penetrate and go through these. Now, I don't actually have to go through and strike this guy for you to get that idea, but if we know that I can throw these same shots, lots of times if anyone's observed some street fights, you're not going to, obviously people don't start from this kind of reference point. It's usually more words to it. Things start out from this position. People are going to start with some sort of wild swinging. We know by keeping it tight, defensive shell, and coming straight out and down the pipeline, we're able to penetrate through, whether I choose to throw this with a closed fist, open fist, or the eye gouge. So the same thing, if we're just standing here and at any point he decides to haul off and hit, I'm just going to move directly into one of my boxing positions and come out with the eye jab at that particular time. So this shares a lot of, it's always in common with other street-oriented martial arts, whether it be Filipino arts, anything else in the JKD matrix, just taking the boxing speed and the attributes and applying it here. So you get the speed, the accuracy you build out of your focus pads. So what I can have him do is move through a variety of positions. He can grab me, single hand, two hand, turn and swing, and I'm just going to continue to shell up in the boxing positions and respond back, open hand, elbows, or throwing some shots. And again, obviously controls us, we're not geared up at this particular time. So moving, as soon as he makes any kind of motion towards me, I'll be able to drop into base and immediately hit. Go ahead and attack. We're in, blocking the punch up, in on the eyes. Again, moves in on the eyes. Whenever someone's grabbing a hold of you, one thing we do anyway, we're kind of pleased with that. When someone grabs you, that means we now know where a hand is. So we're not ever going to be worried about, oh, I got to get rid of this. We're always like, whew, that's something that's not hitting me anymore. So we always leave these in place and go to work with our shots. So I'm sorry, hopefully it's not too disappointing to go, oh, I wish there was a lot more to it than that. No, usually when people are swinging, your job is immediately train yourself enough where your instinct brings you back to here and respond out of this pattern with no matter what they're doing. Because the meanest animal to get in on with your boxing is someone who is from a good defensive shell. But as soon as someone's in any kind of street fighting mode right here, we look how open it is, and you've trained so much against someone who's tight, this looseness becomes a buffet for you. So again, you can take a drill, you can gear someone all the way up, work on hitting these shots in, or you can leave it ungeared, let him just keep reaching in on you, and keep reaching out, going for, and you see I keep going with my lead hand because we know the jab is the bread and butter. So the same thing, the eye jab's going to be the bread and butter. The lead palm is going to be the bread and butter of everything we do. And all those arsenals we have, from the elbows to the pivot shots, those are going to be in place. So it's pretty much a no-brainer to see, oh, the boxing with the gloves on makes immediate transfers over into the street, as long as you're thinking about opening up your hands. Now we're going to take a look at a few ways of maximize your force if you're actually down on the mat or on the ground, on the pavement, and make your punches and your elbows hit a little bit harder down there as well. We're going to take a look at how to take some of the same principles we use with striking from on our feet to striking on the ground. We're not going to spend a lot of time with it because we're primarily still looking at boxing, assuming you kept the fight on your feet. If it goes down the mat, we're looking at wrestling, but still, yeah, I want to show you how the hips still should be coming behind lots of these techniques, and some little tips are going to help you out here, where I feel like some of the striking done from the ground in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, no matter how effective it is, there's still ways to improve upon it. So if I'll take the top saddle position, or mount position, as it's more commonly known. Whenever I'm throwing punches from here, we've probably all seen this little sermon on the mount that's given all the time. If he makes a fist, extends up, then we see that mine reaches here. I automatically have more range because I'm sitting on top of this guy. Fine, but see, this will only allow me to do arm punching. We talked about standing up. Arm punching is not what we're looking for. We want to be able to get our hips behind all of our shots. So one way we change this up whenever it's time for us to punch is we're going to pop up, place one knee across center line, focusing across the chest. I'm still pinching in tight the whole way, squeezing in. So this allows me, whenever I'm punching, to drop a hip into each shot, whether I'm throwing actual punches, palm strikes, or dropping the elbows in the entire way. I think you'll find is take a heavy bag or a floor bag, drop it on the mat, since you can't actually hit your training partner, you'll find you'll be able to get a lot more force. I mean, less force from here as opposed to popping up and be able to get this hip drop each time. You can hear the difference in this, how comfortable this man is as soon as I go to here. So we've got this, listen to his breathing, to here. A little bit more brutal way to play that game. If you feel like it's not safe for you to get your knee up and across the chest, you haven't had a lot of experience in the groundwork, and you don't know how to keep the dynamics of this position, you can't maintain it. If you're going to work from this mountain position, if you are going to hit, pick his head up off the mat and work from here. Still at the same time, I'm not just trying to swing at the arm, I'm advancing my hip towards each shot. Make these hit a little bit harder. Same thing will apply if I'm working crossbody. If I want to strike this person, I'm going to control the head up, away from the mat, kind of put it like in a half Nelson Pry. Still going to leave him on the mat, try and bang him this way, this way. Head's got too much give in it. We're trying to stabilize with it. And then put our strikes in. Instead of me just, again, with the arm, my hip, let me spin, tight grip, will be advancing in the direction that I'm punching. Spin back. So when this punch comes through, my hip, my right hip is also moving in towards the punch. So, in a nutshell, we're just pretty much trying to say where you get your transfers from your stand-up boxing. When you hit the mat, same thing. Find ways to put your hips behind the shot. And since you do have the ground, the planet Earth to back you up, it's best to stabilize his head on the mat because he's got no give, he's got no way to slip away or pull away from this punch. So, again, we're not really showing you how to maintain this ground position, just trying to show you, think hips behind everything, whether you're standing up striking or on the mat striking. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. You've got now all the necessary ingredients to go ahead and go to work with your training, to keep laboring the point again and again. You got your stance, your movement, your footwork, your arsenal, offensive, defensive, how to build combinations, your flow chains, how to work with the drills, suggestions on sparring. And again, you need to go back and rewatch a lot of this again and again and again. Get yourself in front of a mirror and make sure you got everything down picture perfect. Then get yourself in front of a partner and run through these drills. And then after that, start creating the drills on your own. Again, the creativity is up to you and your discipline, but use this as a reference base. We've given you everything we know at this particular point. Just take it and run from there and hope you have fun with it.